Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us for January 2024's Stampin' Class by Mail. I'm Gina Wieselman of MySweetPaper.com, and I'm so excited for you to stamp and assemble your cards using the Be Mine Suite by Stampin' Up. I've teamed up with Brenda Cardinal, another Stampin' Up demonstrator, to offer these monthly classes by mail. This month, Brenda will show you how to stamp and assemble your cards, and next month, it will be my turn. Have fun making your cards, and here's Brenda.
Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Cardinal of stampintulip.stampinup.net, and I'm excited to show you how to stamp and assemble your cards featuring the Be Mine Suite found in Stampin' Up's January to April 2024 mini catalog. If you order a class kit by mail from either Gina or me, pull out those supplies now. You'll also need the stamp set, ink pads, and a few additional items shown here. If you need any Stampin' Up supplies, be sure to use the host code found in the video description to qualify for all of our promotions, including Stampin' Up Celebration promotion that runs from January 4th through February 29th, 2024. Be sure to click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And once again, please reach out to Gina or me if you need any Stampin' Up supplies, would like to learn more about becoming a Stampin' Up demonstrator, or host a Stampin' Up event. Let's get started. Our first card is our Sweet as Honey card. If you order a Stampin' Class by Mail kit from either Gina or me, all the parts and pieces were shipped to you as part of your kit. If you didn't purchase a kit and would like to receive all the measurements for these cards, go ahead and follow the link in the video description to sign up for one of our email lists and access all of our exclusive content. Before we get started today, I want to talk a little bit about the surface that I'm stamping on. Normally I use Stampin' Up's grid paper, but today I'm using the new mat from the Stampin' Glass Mat Studio kit that you can receive for free as part of your starter kit when you sign up during Stampin' Up's celebration promotion that runs January 4th through February 29th, 2024. The mat comes with this glass mat, and you can't really see it in the picture here completely, but it has measurements 13 by 13 and all the 1/4 inch grid marks. And then it has this separate open area here that you can use to mix colors, to write yourself some notes on with a dry erase marker. It also comes with this little rubber mat, and this can be used lots of different ways. Your ink spots fit in these little compartments. You can use these compartments in this one to mix colors. You can use this side to clean brushes, and then it also comes with a chamois that you can use to clean up your glass mat. Now there's a variety of ways you can use this mat, and for a variety of reasons why you would want this mat. To learn more about all the reasons why you might like one of these glass mats, be sure to click the link in the video description that will send you to a video that Stampin' Up put out to talk to all about this new glass mat pack. All right, so let's get started, and we're going to start by stamping our outside greeting, and we'll stamp it on the smaller of the two basic white pieces. And for placement purposes for the greeting, I'm going to go ahead and place my basic black piece here. And what I'm doing is I'm creating an equal border on the left and right side and the top, and then that leaves me that open space on the bottom. So how I like to use this little mat that comes with the glass mat pack, and I like to put my stamp pad in here. And for our greetings, we're going to use our Memento Tuxedo Black pad. So I'll ink up my stamp. And I'm just going to center the greeting in the space that's remaining after you put that basic black piece down. Okay. And then we can set that aside for a minute. Next, I'm going to go ahead and stamp an inside greeting. You can select whatever one you would like from the stamp set. I'm going to use the You'll Always Be the One for Me. And I'm going to stamp it about right here. Okay. And then we'll set that aside for a minute. And that's all of our stamping we'll do with our Tuxedo Black pad. Next, I'll come in with my Daffodil Delight pad. And I'm bringing in some scratch paper. And I'm going to lay my Daffodil Delight piece down. And I'm going to randomly stamp the honeycomb around the outside edge. Let's close this here so you can see that. I'm going to leave some open space as well as I stamp this, so it looks nice and random. spin my stamp so I get a different look as I go around my Daffodil Delight piece here. Okay, and then as you saw on the inside of the card, I'm going to add some honeycomb images to the top of this. And then that's all the stamping we'll be doing with our Daffodil Delight pad. And then I'll bring in the Sweet Sorbet pad, and I'm going to add a few little hearts. We want to apologize to those who ordered a class kit from either Gina or me. We inadvertently forgot to add this Sweet Sorbet pad to our supply list. If you don't happen to have this pad, you can certainly use a petal pink stamp pad that we'll be using for our second and third card to stamp these little hearts. Or you could skip stamping the little hearts if you want, or if you happen to have a red stamp pad in your personal stamping supplies, you could substitute that as well. Again, we apologize. It's always fun to have something stamped on the inside of your card. All right, and then that's all the stamping we'll do. If you'd like, you can do that same design on your envelope. All right, let's start putting our card together. We'll bring in our card base. This is basic black cardstock, and we'll use our bone folder to put a nice crease on that. Let's start by putting our inside piece in our card base. And I'm going to be using seal for that, Stampin' Seal. And we'll just center that up inside our card. Okay. And then let's go ahead and put our stamped Daffodil Delight piece on the front of our card. And we'll center that up as well. Next we'll put together our focal point, and we'll need our designer series paper, basic black piece, and the stamped piece. This card design is called the Polaroid layout. And do you all remember Polaroid cameras and Polaroid pictures? Remember how they were about this size, and then your picture was actually on the inside of that white frame, and that's where this idea comes from. All right, so to give a little dimension to our card, we're going to pop this piece up with Stampin' Dimensionals. And we'll pull those little papers. And you can decide if you want it centered and more horizontal and vertical, or if you'd like it at a little angle like I have here. Okay, so I have a little extra adhesive there. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little adhesive back heart to that. This is part of the suite. And I'm going to just put that right there in the center of that heart on the designer series paper. And then if we bring the envelope back in, there's our first card. Our second card is our Love You card. Here are the pieces for the card, so go ahead and pull them out of your kit. Let's begin by doing our stamping. And we'll start by stamping our greeting using Pool Party ink. And we're stamping our greeting on this basic white label that we die cut with our Something Fancy dies. And I'm just going to put a piece of black cardstock behind that so it's a little easier to see the edges of my die cut piece. And I'll ink up my stamp, and I'll go ahead and stamp that right in the center. Okay. We'll set that aside, and then we'll come back and we'll stamp an inside greeting. I'm going to use the greeting that I used for the first card, but feel free to pick out a different greeting from the stamp set. I'm going to place it a little off to the right side because we're going to stamp a surprise on the inside, and that would be our adorable little bee. So that's all the stamping I'll be doing with my pool party pad. So let's go ahead and bring in our Daffodil Delight pad for our little bee body. And this is a pretty bold stamp, so you might have to stamp it a second time. Let's see how it turned out. Oh, I like it. With these photopolymer stamps, it's easy to kind of ink up and go over the image again if we need to. That's all we need the Daffodil Delight pad for. Let's bring in our Petal Pink pad for the wings. And then last but not least, let's bring our Memento Tuxedo Black pad back in. And we'll stamp all the black parts for our bee. I'm going to start with my body. Yeah, and I think I'd like that to be a little darker. So I'm going to try again and go right over what I just stamped. We'll see how I do. Oh, not too bad. All right, and then let's give our bee some antenna. Okay, and then a little face. Now, there's several faces that you could use. I'm going to use the one where it looks like he's winking at me. Okay, and there we go. If you would like to add that same bee to your envelope, you can do that. Maybe switch up the face so his little face is different when the card is opened. All right, let's start putting our card together. I'll set this aside to dry just for a little bit, and we'll work on some of the other pieces. Let's start assembling by adding our designer series paper to the pool party strip using steel. And we're going to align it so that we have equal borders on the left and right side, so it should line up at the top and bottom. Once we have that, let's go ahead and then add this to the front of our card. All right. And before we do that, we'll go ahead and use our bone folder to put that nice crease in there. And then we'll come back with our designer series paper. Now this is set off the fold about 1/4 of an inch. All right, and let's just double check and see if we have any extra cardstock hanging over. It looks like we're good. Now for our grading, we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to layer these two pieces up. Okay, so I think I'll use my mini Stampin' Dimensionals for this. Put one here. Oh, they're sticking to my fingers. Okay, so we'll layer that up, centering it. Flip that over and add some more dimensionals. I think I'll switch to the larger dimensionals for this piece. And then we'll add this to the front of our card, and we're going to put it kind of about 3/8 of an inch in from the right side, and then kind of below that center line a little bit. So yeah, a little crooked there. Okay. And then we'll add our pre-tied bow with the mini glue dots. Now, this is something that Gina and I do for you when you order a kit from us, is we'll tie that bow for you. Okay, and then the last thing to do is add our little adhesive back flower. Now, like the first card, you may have gotten a petal pink heart or a daffodil delight heart. Oops, I'm having trouble grabbing that. And in this case, you might have received any one of the 4 colors, and the hearts and the flowers come in 2 different sizes. So your kit might be slightly different. See, this one has the large pool party heart. This one has the large sweet sorbet heart. All right, so if we pull our envelope back in, there's our second card. Our third card is the You Make My Heart Buzz card. Here are all the pieces for the card, so go ahead and pull them out of your kit. This is our fun fold card, so let me show you how it works. It lays flat to mail, but then when you pull it out, you pull it this way. It's kind of hard to show you. It's kind of hard to show you how it stands up in a video with an overhead camera, but it'll actually stand like this. And then you'd sign it on the back. So let's start by doing our stamping, and we'll stamp our greetings first. We'll be using our Memento Tuxedo Black ink for our greetings. And we'll start with a smaller piece for the front of our card. And we're going to tuck it a little close to the left side and down about an inch, inch and a quarter. Okay. Then we'll take the larger piece of basic white and we'll stamp our Happy Valentine's Day for the back of our card. And I'm centering this left and right, and it's probably about almost 2 inches from the top. Next, let's work on our bumblebee. The bumblebee parts were punched with the bee builder punch. And we'll work on our bee body first. So let's bring in our punched Daffodil Delight bee body, and we'll stamp the detail on that. Might stamp it a little darker. Let's see how I do. Stamping right over it. Oh, not too bad. Look at that. Next, we'll add our face to our little bumblebee. Pick out whatever face you like. All right. And then we want to stamp our antenna. And what's clever about how this punch was designed is we can punch a little basic white heart, and these antenna stamp right inside that heart. So we don't have to fussy cut it. Just like that. Okay, so that's all the stamping we're going to do with our tuxedo black pad. So we'll set these 2 pieces aside, and next we'll stamp the wings. And so the wings are made up of 2 hearts that have been punched out of basic white cardstock, and we'll stamp the wings with petal pink ink, taking a nod from the designer series paper we're using for this card. Now the wings are stamped using 2 different stamps. We have our solid and we have our detail. Now before we get started stamping these, we want to make sure that we have our hearts oriented the right way. They're not the same on both sides. They're slightly different. So we want to make sure that we have these oriented the way the stamp is. Okay, so let's start by doing our detail first. And this stamp is designed to be kind of random. You don't have to have it, it's not going to stamp in there perfectly, so don't get too worried about that. And we're not going to stamp the solid image straight from the pad. We're going to stamp it off one time, so it's a little bit lighter than our detail. Okay. So there we go, that's all of our stamping. So let's start putting our card together. Now you have 2 pieces of Sweet Sorbet cardstock. One is for the large one is for the main part, and the smaller one is for the front that help create that mechanism. So let's start with the base here. It has been scored 1, 2, 3, 4 times for you. So where we want to start is at the bottom here, where the score line is about 1/2 inch from the bottom. So fold that towards the front, put a nice crease on it, fold at the next score line, putting a nice crease on it, and notice I'm trying to keep my edges straight. Then fold the next score line, and the same thing with that last one. So essentially what this does then is when we put the tear and tape adhesive on there, we are going to attach it like that. But before we do that, it's easiest if we attach our designer series paper to the largest section. Okay, I'll use my seal for that. And I'll put it so that I have equal borders on the left and right and top. All right, let's fold this on that last score line, and this little section here is where we're going to put our tear and tape adhesive. Okay. So let's put a strip of that down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull the release paper, and on that second score line we're going to fold it down like this. Okay, so we have one score line showing, and then we're just going to apply some pressure so it attaches. And see what happened there? Okay. Next, let's add our second piece of designer series paper right here in this larger of the two sections that are showing. All right, so before we add this piece, let's go ahead and flip it over and add our back piece. And we're gonna add a little designer series paper to the top of that so it's cute on the back as well as the front. So we'll add this to the top. Now I'm lining mine right up at the very edge. And I'm gonna check to make sure there's none hanging over, and there's not. So we'll go ahead and add this right like so, centering it up. Okay, so then let's work on this piece here. Now this piece has two score lines on it, and the larger piece we had that little 1/2 inch piece at the bottom. In this case we wanted at the top. Okay, I am going to flip mine over, and then we're going to fold it towards the front, put a crease on there, and towards the front. Okay, so essentially what we're going to do is we're going to add that like so. Okay, before we do though, let's go ahead and put our basic white stamp piece onto this sweet sorbet piece, centering that up in that largest section. And then we're going to put our tear and tape adhesive on that little 1/2 inch section at the top. Before I pull this off, I'm going to flip it over and I put some Stampin' Seal along the bottom edge. Okay, and then folding this flat, I'm going to put a little bit of Stampin' Seal at the top edge of this section. Then I'll pull the release paper off the tear and tape. I'm going to fold it flat. See how it's folded flat? And then I'm going to center it left and right, and then I'm going to align the top edge of the smaller piece with the very top edge of my card. And when I have that centered up, I'm going to put some pressure on that all the way around, and then it grabs, and there you go. See, not so hard. All right, so let's assemble our little bee. And to put our little bee together, we're going to use our multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'll put a little dot of glue here, a little dot of glue here, a little dot of glue here. And I'm going to pick up my bee body and I'm going to attach both wings. And then also the antenna. All right, and then I'll put a little glue on his bee body. And we'll add the heart. Okay, and while that dries, we'll add our ribbon to our card. And we're just going to tie a knot, no bow. And we're going to put it over to the right side of our card. Little square knot here. We'll direct the tails how we want them. And then we'll bring in our paper snips and we'll trim this up. And then we'll attach our bee body. And we're going to use dimensionals for this. And then we'll put our bee on the front of our card. And you can put them wherever you think it looks best. And then you can also stamp your envelope with some cute little hearts. And there's our third card. Thanks for participating in this month's Stampin' Class by Mail. And now here's Gina with a few more things for you.
Thanks for demonstrating how to make those beautiful cards, Brenda. Make sure to follow the link in the video description to access the special Pinterest board that Brenda and I have curated to show you even more ways to use your supplies. Next month, it's my turn to design and share the cards with you, and we'll be using Stampin' Up's Trusty Tools suite from the January to April 2024 mini catalog. Be on the lookout for an email from Brenda or me with more information about how to sign up, and if you're not already on one of our email lists, follow the link in the video description to sign up. Also, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We always love hearing from you, so leave a comment and let us know which of this month's cards was your favorite. Until next month, happy stamping.